Hello everybody, ProtoFoxy here, coming back at you with another video, knocking out some stuff out of the backlog here, and this is one I've had for a good long while now, and wanted to review it a while ago. Never got around to it, but we are now getting around to it and getting around to talking about it. And this is the Transformers Legacy United Doom and Destruction Collection, Bludgeon and Ruckus. So let's get into it. We'll talk about the packaging first. This is cool artwork, by the way. Bludgeon is based on his IDW Stormbringer design, which I love. One of the few things about IDW that I thought was really, really good. Truth be told, IDW stuff I could take or leave. Past Stormbringer, or maybe past Dark Cybertron, I could take or leave. Because I enjoyed Dark Cybertron, love Stormbringer, love the Escalation line of comics, the Asians, and All Hail Megatron was cool. But I digress. Cool artwork of Ruckus and Bludgeon here. Transformers United, Doom and Destruction Collection. We got tentacles. We have weird alien octopus design. We have toys on the back, 27 steps, 9 steps. We'll see about that. 40 years Transformers. You can tell this is authentic. We got cool artwork of Bludgeon. We've got cool artwork of Ruckus. Don't give to babies. That's it for the packaging. Let's take a look at the toys because I have some thoughts. The reason why I got this set, truth be told, is because I did not have any version of Legacy Bludgeon. Didn't get Tarn yet either. And probably won't now, because again, I have thoughts, but I really want a Bludgeon because Bludgeon is actually one of my favorite Transformers, so I had to get one, and I'm not sure how I feel about it. Ruckus, it's cool to have one of those goons. I always like the goon Decepticons. And the Trigger Cons, especially now I'm missing Windsweeper because I do in fact have Crankcase, and I'll talk about him in knocking out the backlog videos. But I'm happy I have this set. We're gonna go ahead and just start transforming them now. I'm not gonna do any comparisons this go around because obviously we have a deluxe toy, we have a Voyager toy. And we got just these two guys on camera, so we're just going to talk about these two guys. I'm happy I have the set. Ruckus, and by proxy the Beachcomber mold, because I never did get Legacy Beachcomber. I can take or leave, and we'll talk about that when we get into robot mode. The car mode looks pretty cool. It's detailed decently enough. But from there, I mean, like, we're getting him together here. Pop these back. That's his heels. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. Robot mode for Ruckus. And he looking all right. Unfortunately, with his accessories, QC issues. He has his shoulder cannons, and those work just fine. QC issues. The 5mm ports in my copies, and your mileage may vary. 5mm ports weren't opened up wide enough, so he can't hold anything he came with. So I'm going to take his little handgun here, the front grill handgun, port it into his wrist, and call it a day. Typical Legacy style, generation style articulation, stuff like that. The wrists do not swivel, even though they look like they should. They're on mushroom pegs. Oh no, they do. Okay, I thought they might have been glued into place. Okay, so he does have wrist swiv. Head's on a ball joint, gets a little bit of the wiggly wagglies going on. Waist swiv, typical leg stuff going on here. He has his knees. Big ankle pivot because he's got ginormous feet because they did retool this from Beachcomber, and that was obviously not Beachcomber's actual feet thing going on there. I think it looks a bit ridiculous, to be completely honest with you. I think his ankles and feet are just way too big. I feel like they could have maybe shortened that up a bit, or maybe even just retooled the head and called it a day and given us just a more straight redeco, slight retooling of Beachcomber. Because I mean, it works, I guess, and it makes him taller, but like that just, to me, that looks bad for one. It's not aesthetically pleasing to me, I guess. And there's a lot of tolerance and clearance issues in transforming this, flipping back and forth, and especially going into vehicle mode to get everything to flip into place. You're scuffing things. And yeah, I mean, he's okay. I'm not going to be overly positive about it because I, as happy as I was to be getting more goons, I can take or leave that. And then we got the real reason why I bought this set was to get a bludgeon, and especially because I love the IDW design. And again, I have feelings about this. First off, I feel like, and you'll see as we're transforming this toy, I feel like the transformation is overly complex just to hit a quota for Voyager class engineering, get Voyager class money out of this. I feel like you could have maybe, and the thing is when I say that, I say it with the whole thought process again, tolerances and clearances. A lot of this stuff is crashing into each other. A lot of this trying to slide things past other things to get this to work the way it is intended really bugs me, because it's like, I feel like, and see some of that even there, I feel like this could have been handled a whole hell of a lot better. And we do that. And then this is one of my least favorite parts of this transformation here is working the way this works. It's because we got the tank treads and this is where things are going to start popping off, like that chest panel. I'm going to put it back on after I get these into place, because F that, trying to keep it in place and trying to transform it. This chest panel here pops off every single time I transform it. I think getting him into vehicle mode set up for this review, it didn't. And I was shocked, and I actually think I purposely took it off just to say, okay, there it still pops off. I didn't know if I actually did something wrong. That's just like, it looks good, is what it is. But yeah, that pops off. All the clearance and tolerances there, just for me, don't work. These little guns on his back piece here, they constantly pop off. I'm not a fan of it. But we do get a robot mode that I will say I'm actually pretty happy with. I feel like this fits Bludgeon pretty well. And, being IDW Bludgeon, Stormbringer Bludgeon. Let's get in close for the head sculpt here. And that's cool. I do like that. The half face there, kind of happy in the skull, this, that, and the other thing. Does look up real well. The articulation is good. I will give him that. He looks, and he does have the opening hands and wrist swiv and stuff like that. And he can strike a lot of very dynamic poses. With the way he is articulated and this and that. He strikes a lot of dynamic poses. I will say that. And you can do many things with this this thing here. It mounts onto his arms. You can take them apart. I'm not going to do the stupid Evo Fusion thing that they try and tell you to do with that piece, because it's stupid. You're basically just making one long cannon, whatever. But it looks good. It fits on. But what I like to do with it is I pop that onto the back and leave it there. So he's got the cannons just in case for additional armaments, because what I like to do is I'll put the sword in his hand, because he's bludgeon. He needs his sword. So we put the sword in this hand, and then, much like I do with some other updated takes of characters that have earlier takes, I won't give him them. So there's Power of the Prime's bludgeon, the Pretender one. So I turn it into the club weapon, and I put that in this hand, so he's wielding this. And now he looks even more dangerous. Big old crazy, crazy samurai Decepticon with, just armed to the teeth. And I love how that looks on him. But I will say that Bludgeon here does pose incredibly well. He does a lot of cool things, and he can strike some really cool poses. And what I'm going to do is kind of show that, because this is one thing that's super neat about this, is that he can get way down and like really just like, this is one of my favorite poses to do with him. Boom, he's on his, he's in stalking mode. He's looking at you. He's ready to go. And that to me is cool. Just in a minute there, he's very dynamic in his posing. I'll give him that. You know, just the way he looks, he strikes an imposing figure, and he looks good, and I'm not going to complain about that. I did buy the set just to get the Bludgeon. Ruckus, I could take or leave. But I do like the Bludgeon. I think the take mode is garbage. He doesn't have any wheels, treads, what have you. So he can't roll. You basically just slide him around. I think the take mode is trash. And I can take or leave it. Transformation on the toy itself, absolute garbage. Clearance and tolerance issues. Things will pop off. You will be popping them back on to get him into robot mode at this point. At that point, then just make him a parts former and call it a day. But as a robot mode, as I'm straightening things out, my OCD is kicking in. I'm sorry, everyone. But in robot mode, as an action figure, I like it. I obviously display my stuff in robot mode. So he's going to stay in robot mode. And I dig it. I think it's great. He poses well. He looks intimidating. He fits that whole look of like a Lith samurai type character, assassin type thing going on. It works for him. You know, and it looks good. That being said, I'm happy I have this Bludgeon. I'm not hunting down the other Bludgeon, which is toy, and then maybe not, more toy accurate and current comic book accurate as far as the head sculpt and chest sculpt goes. I have a Bludgeon. I'm happy with it. I'm definitely skipping on Tarn too, because I already have one of the mold. I have experienced it. I'm good with it, and that's that. Ruckus, I can take or leave. Whatever. You know, it sounds like I'm a bit negative on this set, and I don't want to say that I hate it, because I don't, but I'm definitely not impressed with it. It took a long time for Bludgeon. When I got this Bludgeon, I was super upset because of the transformation and tolerance and clearances. I was like, oh, the robot mode looks good, but everything else I hate about this figure. And I was upset. And I was upset I spent money on this set, because it was like, oh, like, I don't like either one of these figures. You know, I can take or leave Ruckus. I'm indifferent too. He's cool to have on a goon shelf. Whatever. But Bludgeon really pissed me off, because Bludgeon is actually one of my favorite Decepticons. One of my top 5 favorite Decepticons. And I felt like they did my boy so dirty, and I'm actually going to shoot a review of the Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon mold. I've got so many different versions. I'm not going to break out the GDO G2 Megatron again, just because it has its own dedicated review on my channel. But I have every version of that mold, I think. Because there was GDO Megatron, there was Revenge of the Fallen Bludgeon, there was Hunt for the Decepticons Bonsaitron, and then the BotCon Overlord. I think they called him Gigatron in that set. I have all of them. And I love that mold. And I feel like that was a really good Bludgeon. This disappointed the ever-loving hell out of me. And the fact that people glazed this mold up with Tarn and Bludgeon, I was like, this is garbage. I didn't like it. And I actually even thought about, because this was an Amazon exclusive set, I thought about returning it, because I was just so unhappy with it. But I kept it, and I let it grow on me, and Bludgeon grew on me. I have my gripes. The vehicle mode is trash. The transformation is garbage. But it is just a really cool posable figure. So I guess 1 out of 3, you know, and I guess I can weigh it out that way, because I do have fun with the figure, and he does look good. He is sculpted really well. So it's like, 2 out of 4, 50-50. And it's just a 50-50 out of me for this whole set. If this is something that you want to track down and look into, by all means, I would not pay anything more than what the actual retail price for the set was on Amazon goes for, and I believe that was actually $50, if I remember right. Paying anything more than that, you can easily pass on. But I'm indifferent to these molds, so I can't say whether or not I can recommend them. I mean, if you're a Bludgeon fanatic like I am, you're going to be disappointed with it, but you're going to end up getting it anyway. But I'm staying away from the other versions of this mold. And this and that. Ruckus, you can take or leave. I feel like he has a lot of QC issues. Like I said, the hands weren't bored enough, at least on my copy, to fit a 5mm port. So his hand weapon actually gets mounted to his wrist. Clearance issues when you're transforming them. I mean, I was left feeling indifferent on this set, and I still kind of do. I mean, I do enjoy the Bludgeon, and I'm happy I have him, but everything else about it, transformations, Ruckus, this, that, and the other thing, and the fact that it was exclusive to Amazon, and you actually get, unless you can get it for retail, you're stuck paying ridiculous secondary, I'm sure, on this. I haven't looked it up and don't care to. So yeah, I mean, if you feel like if this is up your alley, by all means, I wouldn't pay anything more than retail. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this set. I've yacked on for a bit now, and I'm gonna go ahead and sign this one off. I can go on all day in disappointment and whatever, but it's ultimately up to you to decide how you feel about a set, isn't it? These are just my thoughts, and I will leave you all with this. If you like the video, give it a like. Shoot a subscribe my way if you did. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I say unto you this: be kind to yourself, fellow human beings, so life's too short to play on, and I will see you in the next video, only if it's up your alley.